I walked into the conference room and realized the projector was displaying my private medical bills for everyone to see, while they waited for the meeting to start. I stood in the doorway with my hands gripping my notebook so hard my knuckles turned white, watching as my coworkers whispered about the costs of my specialist visits and the nature of my recent leave of absence. The silence that fell over the room when they noticed me was heavy and suffocating, and I felt a wave of cold humiliation wash over me that made my ears ring. This was sensitive, private data that I had only shared with the HR director. Seeing it used as a backdrop for pre-meeting small talk felt like a total violation of my basic human dignity. The HR director, a man named Steven, was sitting at the head of the table trying to fumble with the remote to change the input source. He didn't look apologetic. He just looked annoyed that he had been caught in such a massive security breach. I had trusted this company with the details of my recovery because I believed their slogans about being a family and supporting their employees through difficult times. Looking at the faces of my colleagues, I realized that I was no longer the lead developer to them. I was just a liability with a price tag attached to my name. It was a level of exposure that I knew I could never fully recover from as long as I stayed in this office. I didn't sit down at the table. I walked straight to the front of the room and stood between the projector and the screen, casting a shadow over the list of my medications and doctor names. "Is there a reason my private records are being used as a presentation today, Steven?" I asked, my voice echoing in the dead quiet of the room. He started stammering about a technical glitch and how he had accidentally mirrored the wrong window while trying to pull up the quarterly reports. I looked at the rest of the team and saw some people looking away in shame, while others just stared at me with a morbid curiosity that made my skin crawl. "I realize now that my privacy is not a priority for this department," I said, and then I turned and walked out of the room without waiting for an explanation. I didn't go back to my desk. I went straight to the parking lot, sat in my car until my hands stopped shaking. I knew that if I went back in there, I would have to endure weeks of pitying looks and invasive questions from people who had no right to know my history. I spent the afternoon drafting a formal legal notice regarding the breach of confidentiality and sending it to the corporate headquarters. It wasn't about the money. It was about the fact that Steven had treated my life like a file he could just mismanage without consequence. The company tried to offer me a settlement and a transfer to another branch, but I knew the culture of the place was broken beyond repair if a director could be that careless with an employee's life. I officially resigned a week later and took a position with a smaller firm that actually understood the meaning of data security and personal boundaries. Steven was eventually demoted, but the damage to my sense of safety in a professional environment took a long time to heal. I learned that you have to be the primary guardian of your own information because no matter what a company promises, you are often just a line item in a folder to them. I am much more guarded now about what I share with my employers, and I always ensure that I have a clear understanding of who has access to my files. I found a new sense of peace in a workplace that respects my boundaries. And I've learned that standing up for yourself in the moment of your greatest embarrassment is the only way to reclaim your power. I walked into the conference room and realized the projector was